Okay guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to talk about something that might pique quite a lot of your interest because you might be in a similar position to my client Nathan and where he was at the start anyway, where he was stuck, where he was always trying to get himself shredded but he could never really get there. And we're going to talk about how he went from the picture on the left, or my left anyway, when I look at the screen certainly, and it should be yours too, to the picture on the right where he dropped 11 kilos of body fat, he got shredded, and he done a photo shoot. He was feeling the confidence to do that. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how you can do the same. But first of all, for those of you that are new here, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. We won't talk about me for too long, but I just want to kind of back up why you guys should listen to me. So I've been doing this a while. I've helped hundreds of people drop fat and build muscle, and my goal is to help you do the same. Now, I don't want to sound too airy-fairy here, but the reason for this is because when I first got in shape, I done my first bodybuilding show back in 2015, and like I basically, done that prep, got myself shredded, and I never really stuck to anything before like that. I'd never really been disciplined enough to stick to anything. I ate the same foods day in, day out, and again, I'm not saying that's what you should do, but I'd done that. I trained religiously, and I jumped on that stage, and I've done all right. But for reference, this is not my first bodybuilding show in this picture. But like, yeah, I done all right, and then but the discipline that I developed when I was doing that first prep, that has served me like ever since. Like I've been able to apply that to so many other things in life. But before that, I was unmotivated. I was lazy. I wouldn't get shit done. I was just like, I wasn't exactly on the wrong path, but I wasn't exactly heading anywhere either. And doing that first show and going through that journey, it changed my life. Okay, and again, I said it wasn't going to sound airy-fairy, it kind of did. But it did. That was the truth, right? So if I can help you guys go through a similar transformation, then that's fucking great. So that's what we're here to do. So yeah, I've been incredibly lean. I've competed in bodybuilding quite a few times. I've actually got a few trophies up there. I wasn't the best natural bodybuilder. I wasn't the worst. I'm saying wasn't, like, it's not as if I'm done. I do think I will probably compete again at some point. If my wife's watching this, she'll not be happy to hear that, but yeah, I think I will again at some point. I'd love to dabble into powerlifting as well. That's something I'd love to do, try and compete in powerlifting. Yeah, so I've been pretty strong as well, pound for pound anyway. Being a shorter guy, we always love the pound for pound chat. So like, I've kind of done it all, right? Been really lean, packed on loads of muscle, been really strong. So like, I think that obviously gives me a good authority to help people, but as well, I've also helped hundreds of people do the same: drop fat, build muscle, get strong. And a lot of coaches will say that, oh, I've coached hundreds of people, but genuinely hundreds of people. And you'll see how when we talk about the process we went through with Nathan, you can see how like our program can help reach loads of people. Okay. So yeah, right. Let's talk about Nathan. Or let's talk about these transformations that I forgot we're on here. So I also want to show some of my client transformations as well, just to give you guys a little insight into what it is we do, and just back up just what I was talking about. And again, these are just ones that I had these pictures on Canva when I was making this slideshow. They were already there, and these are some incredible body transformations. We're seeing a lot of different stuff. We can see obviously guys packing on muscle like Sam up there, and we can see Harriet who's lost like close to 90 pounds up there as well. So like, we can see some different styles of transformations, but ultimately we're all doing the same thing. We're dropping fat, we're building muscle, yada yada. So yeah, cool. Hopefully that makes you listen to me. Right, Nathan's transformation as well, of course, is the one we're here to talk about. And Nathan's starting point, it was kind of typical, to be honest. I get a lot of guys in Nathan's position where they've tried various different programs or diets. They've been doing like different things like High Rocks, for example. But the common kind of mindset that I get quite a lot is thinking that doing more is always the answer. Like, oh, I need to train more, I need to do more cardio, and that's not always the case. And that's probably something we're going to look at today in this video, and as well as the kind of nutrition side of things, because again, I hear it a lot. Oh, I'm training a lot, I'm eating well. Well, obviously eating well isn't good enough, because ultimately you're not getting the shredded physique that you want, and neither was Nathan. So we need to look at that and we need to address that. So that was Nathan's starting point, and what changed it all for him was ELEV8, doing the ELEV8 program. Okay, so for those of you that haven't heard of ELEV8, that is our 8-week rapid fat loss program. We do 8 weeks of coaching for just £99 if you get the early bird price anyway, which is an absolute fucking steal, by the way. You get your calorie and macro targets, you get example meal plans to follow as well, so it's not as if we're just saying, right, go hit these calories. It's like, here's how you can hit these calories as well. You get your training and cardio targets, you get training programs to follow, which are all linked up to our video exercise library. You get weekly feedback from your coach, either myself or James, and we've also got a good community aspect on there as well, which we used to do in a Facebook group, but like, let's be honest, who actually goes on Facebook anymore? So we're changing that over to a WhatsApp group, and we also do like a weekly educational video. And again, I say it like that because, like, you know, it sounds boring when you're saying, oh, we do an educational video, blah blah blah, but like, ultimately what this is us going over stuff that's applicable to you and the stages you're at in the program. Like, I'm a guy who's like, I've done a lot of like different courses and, you know, went to different things like to try and learn more. But where a lot of this stuff loses me is where it becomes non-applicable. So like, when we do the ELEV8 program, I want to make sure all the education we're delivering is stuff that's applicable, stuff that you can go away and use, and therefore obviously it's going to be a lot more interesting to you guys as well. So in a fitness industry that's saturated with a lot of science talk and some of it that is not non-applicable, we're just keeping it real. That's ultimately it, keeping it real. So we're going to have a little look now at Nathan's journey and how he got on the ELEV8 program and the progress he made. So Nathan signed up to our April intake of ELEV8, and he started off on round about 1850 calories, right? So we talked about before how Nathan had been eating well, but he didn't actually know what his food intake was. He'd never tracked anything to find out. So we got him using MyFitnessPal, which again on the ELEV8 program, it's always tracking calories. So if you do ever come on board to it, you know, there's always a calorie tracking option. As I say, we do give example meal plans. So if we go on to here, we've got the example meal plans. So essentially you could look at this and you can say, right, if my targets are 1850, example meal plans, what's the closest we've got to that? 1800. So we've got two variations of an 1800 calorie meal plan. You could essentially just follow that. Okay, you could do that, but most people end up tracking macros and calories, so they use something like MyFitnessPal and track the calories and macros. Okay, and the good thing about ELEV8 as well is we've got loads of like informative videos as well that'll show you how to do that sort of thing too. So each person gets like a folder on ELEV8 with all their stuff in it, the progress photos and all that stuff. And on the information sheet there is a few different videos. Again, these are just short, applicable videos talking about some of the common things that come up as well. Okay, and calorie tracking is obviously one of them. So yeah, he had 1850 calories, 175 grams of protein a day, and his refeed day was 2,450 calories. So we got one of them per week, so one refeed day. And that allowed him like a meal out with the missus or something like that. You know, if they wanted to have like a meal out or a night out or something like that, you've got that higher calorie day to do that. And I find a lot of people work quite well with that, like one refeed day a week. It just gives you a little bit of a day where you can relax. So yeah, so that was him tracking his calories. As you can see, you know, it was never perfect, but it's there or thereabouts. You know, if you're within like 5-10% of a calorie target, probably 5, not 10. You know, then you're close enough. And again, with your protein, he's been there or over, which is fine. He dropped 3 kilos in the first week, which is quite common to see a lot of loss in the first week. You might get a bit of water weight loss. He was doing 14,000 steps. The steps were set based on, he done 10,000 steps per day as it was, or 10.5. So we pushed that up a little bit, and then he pushed that up even more. He done almost 17,000 on average that week. Now that's not commonplace. Not most people aren't doing 17,000 steps a day, but for him that was the case. He done 5.5 hours of training as well. We only set 3, so he done more than that, and 90 minutes of cardio. Okay, his target was 60, but he done more than that. And then at the end of the week, you would do like a waist measurement, just a little kind of weekly check-in form here, and then some weekly comments where you basically let us know how the week went, and then feedback from his coach, which was me in this case. Okay, so when I keep saying we, there's myself and James that run the ELEV8 program, so you'd be coached by either one of us. But yeah, I was coaching Nathan, and over the course of the 8 weeks, what we've done is we gradually decreased his calorie intake, we gradually increased his output through steps mostly. I didn't really change his training or his cardio because he was doing more than enough anyway. It was mostly the food we changed in this case. Now, a lot of people would say, oh well, he finished on 1650 calories, why didn't we just go straight into that? You might have dropped weight faster, or fat faster. Remember, there's a difference between losing fat and losing weight, and again, that's something that we do cover on the ELEV8 program, because it's quite a common one where sometimes people will be, oh, I've not lost any weight this week. Well, doesn't mean you've not lost fat, does it? But like anyway, so we gradually done that, and you can see his refeed day went down as well. So the calorie intake was just reducing, and that's common. That's the way I like to do things, because we start on more calories and we gradually decrease the calorie intake as we go along. The thing is, when you're doing a fat loss diet, you will gradually start to slow down. Like, so fat loss begins to slow down. Your body starts to adapt to the lower calories. You become naturally a little bit lazier, so you start burning less calories. And then we have to increase that deficit by either increasing output or decreasing. Oh, I was struggling to talk there. Decreasing the input, which is the food that you take in. So that's what we were doing here. We were gradually decreasing that as we went on, and that meant that we had a nice steady loss. We were 77 on the last day of ELEV8. We were 86 on the first day of it. So he lost 9 kilos on that. He would have probably lost a bit more, but as we can see here, we've got no access for a few days. Oh, what was going on there? And then he came back 82 kilos after that. So he came back 3 kilos heavier. That was his stag do. So fair play to him. Like, we're not going to say to him, Nathan, right, it's your stag do, but you need to stick to your macros. It's like, Nathan, go enjoy your stag do, and then we'll catch up once you get back. So yeah, he done that, and that obviously, it didn't affect him massively, because we had that spike. It was up at 82.6, but he was back at 79 by the end of that week. So yeah, that's how quickly, excess kind of water weight or whatever that's gained from a holiday can be lost. At the end of ELEV8, Nathan decided to stay on and do one-to-one coaching with myself. So that's when we decided, right, we're going to go for this photo shoot. I already had a client shoot booked in, and it was just good time for him. So he came on board and we pushed him down. I think we actually ended up on 1,500 calories at the end up. So he pushed it pretty hard. And then we done a peak week as well before the photo shoot, and that consists of like a 3-day carb deplete and then a 3-day carb load. And he basically ended up, his lowest body weight was, there's a one-off weigh-in of 70 here, which I'm imagining was during his peak week. Or just, I think that's actually been a mistake, to be honest. But his lowest weigh-in was 74 kilos, I think. And yeah, obviously that was him at the photo shoot. And he was pretty shredded for that. He ended up in very good condition for that. Currently, he is on a reverse diet now, so we are starting to bring his calories back up. Again, it's not the purpose of this video to talk about this bit, but basically, once you finish dieting, your body is going to want to regain the fat pretty quick, so you've got to be careful. And again, it's a mistake I've made many times. It's like, I've dieted down, got myself shredded, and I've regained the weight within like a month, and that's not good. It's not healthy either. So to get that right, you've got to properly reverse diet and properly come back out of the dieting phase. But again, it's not the purpose of this video to talk about this. It's just, that's where he's at now. That's what we're doing now. And we're also trying to navigate the summer as well, because the summer's a time where you can potentially gain a little bit of body fat, and with everything that's on, barbecues, holidays, events, like, so there's a lot to navigate there, and we're currently doing that. So that's where he's at now, okay? And again, that guidance, especially once you have got as lean as Nathan's got, like, that guidance after the shoot is very important. Again, like, as I say, I've made a mistake of that. I've made a mistake many times where I've just regained the fat really quick, because I've never really had any guidance. I've had coaching up until the point of doing like a competition, but I never had any guidance on what comes next. No one ever talked about it. So like, again, something I'm a big advocate of is nailing that reverse diet and making sure that we're doing that properly, so that it's like, so that we don't go through, I don't know, 20 weeks of fat loss, for example, to basically regain it in a month. Like, to me, that's pointless. To me, that's a waste of time, because then you have to re-lose that fat again. And a lot of guys will kid themselves on. They'll say, oh, I'm gaining muscle though. I've gained 10 kilos. I'm gaining muscle. You're not gaining 10 kilos of muscle. Not as quick as that anyway. So yeah, that is something that clearly a bit passionate about. But yeah, as you can see, I'll put some pictures up on the screen now of Nathan's photo shoot. Like, the guy was shredded. He was in great nick, and now we're working on that reverse diet, and then we'll go into a muscle gaining phase. And again, you might see Nathan doing a photo shoot again in the future with more muscle on his frame. So that'd be pretty cool to see, and a lot of clients go down that route. So obviously Nathan's progress has been pretty impressive, and it all started on the ELEV8 program. Again, he only paid 99 quid for that program, and it's just been the thing to basically kickstart his progress and get him in this incredible shape that he's in now. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, I'd maybe quite like to try that, it's worth a punt at £99. Again, I will say it here, it's like, this is the best value fat loss program on the market. You will get the most bang for your buck. For 99 quid, if you come along and you follow along with the plan, you will get results. We've had over 275 people on this program. I say over 275 because, like, I've counted up everyone that's been in it, but like, it's hard to count for repeats, if you know what I mean. So I've said roughly about 275 plus. And I've got all the data as well because I'm such a data geek. And I know that on average, people lose 8 kilos of scale weight doing ELEV8. Okay, so if you come in and you apply yourself, chances are you're going to lose about 8 kilos or the equivalent of body fat. Okay, some people, as I say, some people don't lose a lot of weight, but they'll lose a lot of body fat, and that's why we take measurements, look at pictures, we make sure you're progressing. But I guarantee if you come on the program and you stick to it and you follow the program, you will dramatically change your body in just 8 weeks. It's incredible. So yeah, if you're like Nathan, you've been putting in the work, the results aren't coming, you still can't see your abs, then this is the best possible way to start. As I say, just £99. Now, it is £99 if you get an early bird price for it, okay? So basically, we do a certain amount of early bird spaces, and you have to be on our priority list to get those spaces. Now, I'll put the link to the priority list in the description of this video. It's free to join, so it doesn't cost you anything. You're not like obligated to sign up to the program. All it means is that you'll be on our email list. You'll get a bit more information about the program, and it means you'll get an email on the day when it goes on sale. You'll get warning emails as well to let you know when it's going to go on sale. It's the end of the month. I forget what it is. The last Friday of the month, last Friday of August. You'll get an email to say that it's going to go on sale and what time it's going to go on sale, and then you'll be in with the opportunity to get one of those £99 spaces. But if you're not on the email list, those £99 spaces have sold out every time. So if you just like say follow us on Instagram or whatever, you might see us selling ELEV8 spaces, yeah, but it won't be at £99 because they'll have all sold out to our email list. So you've got to make sure you're on that. Usually we've got between 20 to 30 early bird spaces, and usually we've got about 100 people on that list. So make sure your name's on it. Make sure you pay attention to when it's going to come on sale if this is something you're interested in. But again, as I say, it's the best possible way to start. It's the cheapest way to start, and you can eliminate the guesswork. You'll get personalised targets that are going to work for you. You'll get accountability with our weekly check-ins, and you'll learn a lot about how to manage your nutrition. So yeah, if you're interested at all, make sure you sign up to that link in the description. As I say, it's free of charge, it's not going to cost you anything, and you're not obligated to buy. And just a quick look at some of the results here that we've got on ELEV8 as well. Like some of these results for just 8 weeks have been fucking incredible. Like really, really impressive stuff. And again, a lot of these clients have gone on to do like one-to-one coaching and went further and achieved greater things, went into, you know, photoshoot preps or like muscle gaining phases or maintenance phases and things like that. But like these are just the 8-week results. This is just purely from the program from 8 weeks. So yeah, it's pretty incredible what can be achieved. So if you are interested, you know where that link is. I'm not going to mention it again. And if you've got any questions in the program, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at CM_Physique Factory. Any questions, you can just get me on there, okay?